What is going on, everybody? Tyler Brandt back here with another video, and in today's video we're gonna stay on the defensive side of the ball. We talked most recently about Kyle Duggar, and we've talked about the linebacking core. We've talked about guys like Juwan Bentley, Donta Hightower, Chase Winovich, and Winovich's impact in this upcoming season. But today we are going to stay in the defensive backfield, and this video, let me pitch it to you this way. No matter what happens on the offensive side of the ball, Cam Newton, Jarrett Stidham, whether Cam Newton is an MVP candidate, whether they have the best offense in the league, no matter what they do on the offensive side of the ball, unless they're, like 32 of 32 in the league, like the Jets week 1 through 7 of last year, bad, something like that, unless they're that bad, why, no matter what, no matter how tough this schedule is, the New England Patriots backfield, the defensive backfield, will keep them in every game they play this season, and why, no matter what you're rooting for the future of this team, they'll never be, at least in this iteration of the New England Patriots, they'll never be bad enough for a Trevor Lawrence or for Justin Fields. Whether that means Cam is the next guy for the next 5-6 years, that's a conversation for a different day. But today, we are talking about why the Patriots' defensive backfield will keep them in every single game they play on this tough schedule this year. So, let's break down this Patriots defensive backfield. Again, comparing to the last video up on the channel, that was about Kyle Duggar and the safety position in general. This video, again, is going to be about safeties, about cornerbacks, and about why they are the strongest part of New England's team and why they'll keep them in every game this season in New England and on New England's schedule. So let's start at the top of the depth chart, the best player in New England secondary, and that, of course, is Stephon Gilmore. He goes with no, introduction. Everyone knows who he is, how good he is. He's a 99 in this year's Madden, rightfully so. He's been the best defensive back, the best cornerback in football in probably the last 2 years, going back into 2018, and then even solidifying that in that playoff run, and even into 2019, where he just had an all-time season. Breaking down Gilmore a little more, in 2019 and 2018 combined, his Pro Football Focus grade at the cornerback position has been a 91.3. That's significantly better than any other cornerback in the league. And we all know in 2019, he scored more touchdowns, 2 pick sixes, than he gave up, and he gave up 1 touchdown. It was the John Brown touchdown in the Saturday night game against Buffalo. But beyond that, he had 2 pick sixes, the only player in the league to do that. And when targeted, he allowed a passer rating of 47.4, which, again, is excellent. It goes without saying how good Gilmore is. He's, again, the best in the league. There's not much else you could say about it. So we know, over the years, especially in Bill Belichick's history, his defense is pretty much predicated and it's optimized when there's one elite cornerback. Whether it was Darrelle Revis in 2014, whether it was Ty Law for a bunch of years in the first part of the Super Bowl run, it predicates on having that elite defensive back or that elite cornerback that allows Belichick to move the lesser cornerbacks into different positions to succeed. And I think that's exactly what Gilmore does with this current iteration of Belichick's defense. This one, as opposed to Revis, which he did in 2014, the last time he had a truly elite cornerback, Revis would a lot of times cover the number 2 guy and just eviscerate him from the game plan and erase him completely. Where this time, Gilmore, week in and week out, is on the number 1 guy on the team. And that optimizes what Belichick is able to do with guys like Jason McCourty, with guys like Jonathan Jones, with guys like the next person we're going to talk about, J.C. Jackson, who is, I think, the next man up for that role and has to be one of the 2 next guys paid in New England or extended, one being Joe Thuney. If you're a fan of the channel, we have to extend Joe Thuney. The Patriots have to extend Joe Thuney. You know I'm waving that flag. But I think the next guy on that list is J.C. Jackson, and let's break down a little bit of J.C. Jackson. J.C. Jackson, now, there's not a ton of tape on J.C. Jackson. His role in New England's defense has kind of slowly increased over the last 2 years, but when he has been in, he's made tremendous plays. We've seen it time and time again. Even so much so that he has never allowed a completion over 28 yards in the regular season. That's a big fat 0 on completions in the regular season over 28 yards. And when targeted, he has given up 30. He has a 37 passer rating, 37% passer rating when targeted. So again, I think he's the next man up in this defense if Gilmore is done after this contract, if he's not extended. I think J.C. Jackson is being groomed to be the next man up. Let's now transition from the cornerback position on New England to the safety position on New England. And to kind of get us there, another fun stat again for New England. The only team in the league, again, going on how just excellent this secondary is, the only team in the league to intercept the ball more than give up passing touchdowns. They intercepted the ball 25 times. They gave up 13 passing touchdowns. So again, all the way back to the beginning of this video, what we're talking about today, it is how good this secondary is and why it'll keep them in games all season long. It's stats like that. It's players like J.C. Jackson, players like Stephon Gilmore, and, of course, the safety room, which we talked about in the last video, but we'll break down a little bit more right now. Talking about safeties here, and, of course, that conversation starts with Patrick Chung and Devin McCourty. Let's start first with their passer rating when targeted. Between the two of them, they managed a passer rating of 65% when targeted between the two safeties in New England. To break that down even more, combined, McCourty and Chung allowed 50 receptions and 2 touchdowns on 74 targets. And to even go further with that, a lot of the Patriots, what they did, and one of their trends in 2019 was playing that cover 1 and cover 0, which is predicated on McCourty and Chung's ability to communicate into one of them having to take the best guy on the team while the rest of the defense crashes down on the quarterback. A lot of what made that cover 0 and cover 1 so successful was their ability and their communication skills. And finally, while we're on the subject of these two gentlemen, the Pro Football Focus grade, we got to go over that. And their Pro Football Focus grade in 2019 was a 92.7, highest Pro Football grade in the defensive backfield for the safety position. It went to New England, and it, again, starts with McCourty and Pat Chung. I really want to single in on McCourty here, too, with this safety group. Patrick Chung, he is a good safety, but a lot of what makes him good is his football knowledge, his ability to communicate, things like that. Where McCourty, I mean, he's just been a great athlete and a great safety since he came into the league. And that has really shown in the last few years. Last season, he had an 89.1 passer rating by Pro Football Focus as a safety that ranked best, the 6th best for safeties in 2019. And over the last 2 years, he's actually had a man cover rating, of 80.7, which again ranks very high, 10th in the league for every safety that qualifies. So it's really been, Pat Chung has been great, but it's McCourty's ability to be an exceptional safety that has really set them above and beyond, especially as a secondary, why they have the best top to bottom secondary in the league. And then even I want to give a little bit of love to Terrence Brooks, who, again, used very limited in 2019, but the game specifically for me that sticks out is the game where he was pretty much responsible for Zach Ertz, the game in Philly against the Eagles. It was a great game, very low scoring, very intense game, but Terrence Brooks virtually locked up Zach Ertz for a good chunk of that game. So, again, it's the good depth and it's the exceptional top-of-the-line starters for New England that makes that secondary so good. The last thing I want to leave you with here as we wind down this video, as you'll see on the screen right now, there is the passer rating when targeted for every major member of the Patriots secondary in 2019. You'll notice a theme, and it's all exceptional, with the exception of really Jonathan Jones and Pat Chung. You definitely, there's a little bit more to be desired there, but it goes, Jonathan Jones is a guy that is not getting a ton of snaps, and Patrick Chung, again, while we talked about maybe him not being the greatest physical corner, what he does in his mind and what he does on the field is really able to help him. But outside of that, I mean, for the league average passer rating of 90.4, for a lot of the major members of this secondary to be significantly under that is just the statement that this secondary is elite, and from top to bottom, again, they are the best secondary in the NFL, and it is why they will keep the team in games this season, even if the offense needs a little bit of work, especially early on in the season. I think they're going to have to work out a lot of kinks on the offensive side of the ball. But that'll do it for this video talking about the Patriots secondary. Once again, I am Tyler Brandt. If you've made it to this point in the video, thank you for watching. I have to ask you to leave a like, drop a comment. What do you think about the Patriots secondary? Who do you think is the strongest part of this team? Who's the strongest part of the secondary? Let me know. I'd be happy to chop it up in the comments with everyone that wants to chat. Until next time, I'm Tyler Brandt. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the Tyler Brandt. And stay safe, be good. I'll catch you on the next video.